biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French Toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro,
like-
less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. I'm James Gisanti, and it is Thursday night, so you know what that means. We're here in the Gym Pack Zone, where we discuss all things TNA Impact Wrestling. It's a big one, guys. We're here on the 20th anniversary of TNA Impact. 20 years of TNA being on television. That's a huge, huge accomplishment for any company, but it's major for a company like TNA who has been told time and time and time again that they would not last, they would not make it, and they would not stick around. But here they are, thriving, a new era. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot going on across companies. But TNA is still here, and TNA is still delivering. Hi, Hunter. Welcome to the comments. Welcome back. Who showed up in TNA from NXT? Not yet. That will be next week at the Premium Live event or the pay-per-view. I don't know what company calls what anymore, but that'll be next week at the TNA pay-per-view against All Odds. We are close to that. We are on the road to Against All Odds, but tonight we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of TNA Impact. They started strong, guys. They started with what I love. You know me. They love giving it to me, and I'm going to love watching it. We got two big old meaty men slapping each other's meat as we got Big Con taking on Jake something. This was a slow match. I won't lie. This was, it wasn't as much meat slapping as I would have loved. We did get two hosses going at it. We got two big men trying to show off who was the bigger man. But it didn't take, it never really, really, really hit that next level for me. I don't think the match was bad. I just don't think it was as exciting as I would have hoped for. Jake something has shown more often than not that he tends to thrive when working with fast-paced talent. It's why he was even considered for the X Division. It's why it felt like he was such a good fit for the X Division. Now that he's left that, as we're in this Mustafa Ali reign of peace. No, it's terror. I mean, I'm loving it, but it as a heel, it's terror. He didn't really fit there. Maybe he would have won that title in a company that didn't have Mustafa Ali, but alas, that's where we're at. In the comments, what's up, Navarro? Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate it. Always fun having a friend here. Iggy asking, have you heard or seen that Penta El Zero has not reached a deal with AEW? He will go to WWE. We could talk about that in a little bit or very briefly. Let me just check this real quick. Navarro saying that he heard WWE is interested. That doesn't mean he's going, Hunter, but maybe. I think that's very succinct, very well put by Hunter. Thank you, buddy. I think that, no, not by Hunter, by Navarro. Hunter, the reality is we're seeing lots of contracts coming up, and we're seeing, and this is across companies, we're seeing lots of contracts coming up. We're seeing lots of interest on both sides, from both sides, towards talent from across the fence. If you're WWE, there is sure to be a lot of excellent talent in AEW that they're looking to grab. And if you're AEW, you're looking to grab whoever you can from WWE as well. Let's see. Navarro saying, didn't watch TNA, but heard Weezy Blonde, Conman, and Minnie were live streaming the show. Yep, guys, I have been here doing Gym Packed for years at this point now, And now that Jordynne Grace has showed up in NXT, it seems that I am not the only kid at the lunch table anymore. In fact, it seems the cool kids are trying to eat my lunch. I am very happy for TNA, all joking aside. I'm very happy for TNA to be getting all this extra coverage. I'm very happy that these TNA stars are getting recognized for the stars they are. And if it's temporary, so be it. Good job on Jordynne Grace for drawing interest in TNA with her appearances in NXT. If it's permanent, that's fantastic because TNA deserves to thrive. TNA deserves as much attention as it can get. They have been putting on the most consistent product for the last several years. WWE and AEW have certainly hit higher highs. WWE being red hot for the past few months. AEW finding that feeling again on TV. But TNA has just been there delivering show after show. And I think that the more love they get, the better for wrestling in general. I don't want the war to just, I don't want there to be a war in general, but I don't want it to be a two-man race. I don't want it to just be WWE and AEW. I want TNA to get some love. I want Ring of Honor to get some love. I want these smaller companies like GCW, there's good talent in MLW. But MLW, I want all of these companies, all of these hard-working stars to get the love that they deserve and the respect that they deserve. Yeah, no, I heard that too, Navarro, that they streamed video of it because TNA allowed them or something. They were doing a live watch-along where they were allowed to put content on, and that's great. Unfortunately, here at the Mark It Down podcast, we're the little pod that could. We're growing. We're getting bigger. We're doing everything that we can to get as much attention on ourselves. So we're not quite invited to the party yet, but we are getting there. We have some nice TNA connections. But anyway, did NXT people show up tonight? Not tonight. It will be next week, I'm imagining. Next week is the pay-per-view against all odds. Next week is the pay-per-view against all odds where TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace is hosting an open challenge against whoever. And there is a lot of speculation that it will be a WWE star, whether that's NXT or main roster. Who knows? Either way, I'm expecting some level of crossover. I am just dealing with social media, and you guys are everywhere tonight, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, this suspense, this questioning, who's going to show up where? This is awesome. I'm so grateful to have you here, Navarro. I'm so grateful to have Hunter here, and I know I've got a few more people on right now with us. There's never this much excitement or buzz around TNA. There just never is. And we had the hype and the peak with Joe Hendry about a month ago, a few weeks ago. Now we're dealing with Jordynne Grace. It seems TNA is being really smart with how they promote themselves right now. Smarter than they've been in years. Right now, I know if you're a TNA fan, if you've been around following me, following TNA for the last several months, for at least the last year, you guys know things have been a little tumultuous since the departure of former president Scott D'Amore. Since the shakeup with new people in charge, we have seen a lot of backstage personnel having been released, having been fired from TNA. We don't know what this means for the company. We don't know if this means, granted, this is pure speculation, so don't take anything I'm saying seriously, take it with a grain of salt, but we don't know if this means they're prepping for a sale. We don't know if this means that they are just trying to overhaul management. We don't know if this means that they are trying to figure things out. I remember when Scott got released, a lot of talent, big names in the company were advocating for his return. That's how major a shakeup this was. And now we're seeing lots of changes on the screen. The production has gotten better. And granted, a lot of that had to do with Scott as well. But production has gotten better and has been consistent. There's this crossover now with WWE, something that was unfathomable. I got it. Unfathomable in 2023 even. But here we are, and I'm just happy to have everybody on the ride with me. But getting back to the show itself, getting back to the product that we had tonight in this 20th anniversary, this match with Big Con and Jake something. It was fine. There wasn't much to go off of. It was slow paced. It was these guys kind of two raging bulls just sort of locking horns and testing each other. And it didn't really, for me, the highlight was the finish. The highlight was the finish, and it's hard not to be when you have Jake something's finisher. But as Big Con was trying to hit that vicious neck snap that he's been hitting on all of his opponents and unsuspecting victims across TNA, Jake was able to continuously block it, continuously stop it, and then he was able to counter it into a huge into the void, a boss man slam, if you're of the uninitiated, and he got the 1, the 2, and the 3. Jake something continuing to build momentum, but afterwards we saw Big Con continue attacking Jake something and still trying to hit that neck snap. Thankfully for Jake, Eric Young comes out running to make the save, knocking Khan to the floor. He then got on a microphone, cut a promo saying he was just in the back having Suburban when he decided to come out. Eric then talked about TNA Impact being on TV for 20 years. And it's been 20 years of excellence. And the most important part of this business is the fans, how they have been there all this time, and they are the lifeblood of what they do. The fans, of course, chant TNA, TNA, TNA. And the commentator spoke about Young having a match on the first episode of Impact 20 years ago. Very cool to have a veteran still so passionately behind the company and advocating, and to still be so well received by the crowd. I will say, nothing against Young. I'm glad that he got to have a moment. I wish it was somewhere else, because I don't know why he's the one to make the save for Jake something. Quite frankly, it should have been Cody Deaner. And Jake was an afterthought. He won the match, got beat down. Young made the save, and he never came back. That's kind of a bummer. I am all about celebrating the past. I am all about honoring the past, but we should also celebrate the future. We should also be hyping up the future. And Jake something is a part of that future. So I would have maybe done a little bit more to make him look strong there. Maybe have Young hype him up, raise his hand afterwards after making the save. But it is what it is. And overall, not a bad way to start the show. Sorry, guys. I am dealing with social media, with Twitter right now. Thank you if you guys are watching on Twitter. But moving on, we now then go to a backstage interview with the king, or the self-professed king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian. Frankie is with Mean Gia Miller, hardest working woman in TNA, who asks him, when did he start doing the bidding of the system? The system who had requested Frankie to take on what would be the main event tonight, Nick Nemeth. Kazarian says that he's not anybody's lackey. He doesn't do what he's told, but the system asked him that they had a problem and if he could get rid of that problem for them. This then brings out the system. Alicia Edwards taking shots at Gia Miller's accent. I don't like that, Alicia. I don't like that at all. Leave Gia alone. As the group and Kazarian are going back and forth, Kaz makes sure to say, well, if I do take care of this problem for you, if I do make Nick Nemeth go away, I'm going to get a shot at that TNA world title, aren't I? Moose said, absolutely. It's not going to be a problem at all. And then he says, and then Kazarian says, well, that is if you get past Broken Matt Hardy after all. Moose then reminds us of the beatdown that he gave to Matt Hardy last week backstage, and question if he would even be able to make it to Against All Odds. We then go to commercial break, and as we come back, we're still with Mean Gia Miller, who is now backstage with Steph DeLander. We go over what's been going on the last several weeks with PCO courting Steph DeLander. First giving her that rose, then last week that love note, and apparently on the back of that love note was a question, yes or no to PCO. Steph doesn't really know what to make of all of it. She's not sure what decision she's going to make. But Xia Brookside comes and talks to her, apologizes for how things went last week, and says it was very sweet what's been going on with PCO. And before she rushes to make a decision, to please at least wait a little while and to think it over. Steph then says she'll give it a week to think about, and then she walks away. This left Gia and Xia Brookside giddy with happiness and excitement at the possibility of that coupling. Guys, wow. There were lots of ways you could have incorporated Steph DeLander into the company. This was an interesting one. I don't necessarily have an issue with the idea, but man, she hasn't even sold that she's even somewhat interested. I love PCO, but wowza, how did we get here? Navarro in the comments saying Jordynne Grace after her TNA contract is up. Jordynne Grace after her TNA contract is up is 100% going to WWE. I think there is no doubt about that. I completely agree with you. I think it's very likely. Now, the interesting thing, or depending on whose side of this you're on, fortunate or unfortunate, is that Jordynne signed a new contract last year, a 3-year contract. So she's done a couple of interviews in the last week or so, the last couple of weeks, saying that she was in negotiations with WWE when her contract was up last year with TNA, but she chose to stay. She chose to re-sign with TNA, and now she feels that she's experiencing the best of both worlds, being very comfortable in TNA, but still having that desire to wrestle on that grand stage that is WWE. Who knows if we're going to see Jordynne make it to the end of her contract. She's a professional. I'm sure she's willing to work out her contract, but I wouldn't be shocked to see WWE and TNA maybe come to some sort of deal. I don't know. I think right now I'm content with how everything's going. I'm happy with her being a TNA star, but who makes appearances in WWE. But yes, absolutely. I think there is genuine interest from WWE to get Jordynne to be part of their roster. And I'm sure sooner than later it will happen. Navarro saying that's totally fine. She deserves to continue this amazing run and having TNA's women's locker room that constantly elevate each other. Yes, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, but I completely agree. And saying still one of the best women's divisions, I completely agree. I think the gap has sort of narrowed a bit. It's not as wide a gap as it used to be. They are still probably the best booked division in all of wrestling, or the best booked women's division in all of wrestling, despite the talent and the love that WWE's women's division and even now more recently AEW's women's division has gotten. I still think TNA's Knockouts division is the crown jewel of women's wrestling, but I'm very glad that other people are starting to recognize that as well. We then go back to that Knockouts division as we had a return. We had the return of Giselle Shaw, the quintessential diva, taking on Shazza McKenzie. Now, as you guys know, the last few weeks, Giselle has been having these vignette packages, these videos where Gail Kim has been trying to get her back into TNA. Giselle, whose confidence and I guess spirit was rocked after her most recent loss for the TNA Knockouts title, her most recent failed attempt at that title. She's been questioning herself. She's been questioning her worth. She's been questioning her motives, her desire, her interest. Can she still do it? And Gail has been doing her best to bring out the confidence again in Giselle. A Giselle who came out wearing very different ring gear. Giselle coming out with a very different look and very different attitude, it sort of feels. Giselle started the match strong. The commentators have, talking and spending a lot of time getting into the positive influence that Gail Kim has been on her. McKenzie was able to turn the offense on her side for a little bit of a run. Didn't last long as Shaw was able to grab her by the throat and just absolutely Decker. I thought it was a smack. It could have been a harder hit. I'm not sure. Either way, had her down, but wasn't able to get a 3 count. After they both get back up, Giselle hits a big shot and follows it up with the denouement knee trembler finisher for a pretty quick 1-2-3. Happy to see Giselle back on the active roster. She was very missed for a very long time. I cannot say enough good things about Giselle Shaw. I think she has been busting her ass to get better and better and to earn these shots at the Knockouts title and to feel like she deserves that title. I think she's there. I think she's earned it. And while I love Jordynne Grace, I am so happy that Jordynne Grace is getting all this love that she's earned. Giselle Shaw's time is coming. It just is. So let's see how this will work out with TNA's partnership with WWE and NXT. But moving on, we then have another Knockouts bit as we have a segment with Rosemary. These vignettes have been going on for the last several weeks. Rosemary talking about being alone, not having her friends with her anymore. Taya Valkyrie, the Bunny, Jessica Havoc. These promos are starting to get a little, I don't want to say redundant, but we're starting to cover similar ground now. Like I said, she talks about being alone and that the children of the hive wrapped around them like a husk for protection. I think meaning her friends. It was interesting. Those friends followed her into battle, but they are all now gone due to her failures. She says, not failures, but sins. And now those responsible will be forced to pay for their sins and their failures. Look, I've been talking about the fact that even though I love the Death Dolls, even though I love the Decay, I was very ready to see them exit the Knockouts tag division and spend more time in singles. Granted, the Knockouts tag division really does need some padding. There is not a lot of meat in that division. But seeing the Decay, the Death Dolls just continuously ping-ponging with the tag titles, playing hot potato, losing them, getting them back, losing them, getting them back, it was getting a little old. So I'm excited to see Rosemary doing something else. I'm interested in seeing where Havoc is. I thought she was hurt, but I believe that's just kayfabe because we've been seeing her pop up at Indies. As far as I know, she's still with TNA. Maybe this is just to really cement the split between Havoc and Rosemary, but hope she's not gone for long either. We then go to a backstage interaction with Steve Macklin and Mike Santana. Santana being weary of an approaching Macklin who says, look, he's not there for trouble. Yes, they both have something. They both have things they got to deal with and ways of wanting to finish their score, meaning going back to the excellent matchup they had on last week's Impact. Seriously, guys, go back and watch that matchup. It was excellent. Both guys coming across as stars, both guys coming across as main eventers, and Macklin is certainly cementing himself as a babyface. But he continues to tell Santana that they have a problem, and he's here to approach Santana face-to-face like a man, unlike the Rascals who attacked them and ended that match early last week. He tells Santana that they each have issues, but they need to deal with the Rascals. Macklin suggests that they handle it together, but Santana says, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but that part of my career is over. No more tag teaming. I'm not a tag team wrestler. Macklin suggests it's just a one and done. They deal with what they need to deal with, and it's time to move forward. Santana says it seems like Santana was warming up to the idea of it, and I think we're going to get a tag team match of Steve Macklin and Mike Santana taking on the Rascals next at the pay-per-view at Against All Odds. We then go to a tag team match for tonight, actually, as we had X Division champion Mustafa Ali teaming up with I wrote Champagne. That's on me, guys, and I apologize. It's Campaign Singh. It's Campaign Singh taking on Speedball Mountain, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Trent Seven. Got to tell you, for a tag team I never wanted in Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, they are incredibly talented, obviously, and they work pretty damn well together. it started off, it was teased that Ali was going to start off the match taking on Trent Seven, and we were going to get a taste of their X Division Championship match that will be happening at Against All Odds early, but he quickly tags in Campaign, and he's got a huge smile on his face. This was a slower match than I expected, considering all the men involved. These, at the very least, these 3 X Division stars. Nothing against Singh. He's good. I don't have a problem with Singh. It's just he's very clearly not at the same level as Mustafa Ali, Speedball, and Trent Seven. Both men, both Seven and Singh kicking things off. Seven established an offensive lead pretty early and then tagged in Bailey. Bailey picked up where Seven left off, taking it to Singh as the fans chanted Speedball. Personally, I would have rather Speedball be the guy to take on Ali. I think that match has already happened in the last few weeks, and I'll take it again. Ali then tagged himself in and immediately shifted the momentum back into the heels corner, connecting with a picture-perfect drop kick on basically everyone. If they were moving, if they weren't nailed down, he was hitting excellent drop kicks on them. Ali then taunted the crowd and boasted as the commentators talked this into a mid-match commercial break, and the action continued inside the ring. After we came back, we see Singh on the wrong side of a one-ended beatdown from Speedball Mountain. One of the few times, because for the most part, the heels really controlled it. Singh eventually really desperately needed a tag, but Ali literally ran away from him, something that we saw a few times tonight. The commentators ate this up. Ali is doing a great job with this heel character, guys. It really needs to be spoken about. It really needs to be highlighted just how well Ali has seamlessly flowed into this heel character. Going back to the comments real quick, Navarro asking, is Ortiz signed anywhere? Believe it or not, he is still signed with AEW. I don't know why he's not being used. I like Ortiz a lot. It sucks to say. Very clearly, Santana was the one with more singles potential, I think, than Ortiz. I think Ortiz is a great talent. I think everything he does very, very well. But Santana just has that aura of a single star that I think, unfortunately, Ortiz hasn't really shown off yet. I don't want to say he doesn't have it, but I think Santana just sort of exudes it a little more naturally. I hope AEW uses him sooner than later because he's that good. I wouldn't be shocked if he landed somewhere else. I don't see him going back to TNA just because of the bad blood he has with Santana. I don't know what WWE would do with him, but I'm hoping AEW re-signs him, even if he's just a Ring of Honor guy, which I don't want to say just a Ring of Honor guy, but even if he's a Ring of Honor guy and that's it, I think that's fine. For his sake, I hope they're able to build some momentum sooner than later. But moving on, moving back to the show, Hunter asking, should Penta go to NXT? One, I don't want to see Penta leave AEW, period. When I think of the DNA of AEW, I think Penta is a huge part of that. He's been there since day one. And he's so unique and so important. But that said, if he does leave AEW, I would be seriously disappointed to see him go to NXT. He should go straight to the main roster. There are certain guys that need NXT first. There are certain guys, just throw them on the main roster and just see them excel. And I think Penta is one of those talents. I think he's a former TNA, I believe it was Impact at the time, world champion. The man has wrestled all over the world. He's wrestled on live TV. He knows how to work a camera. Just put him on the main roster if he's leaving. I would rather he stay in AEW, but if we're fantasy booking, we're fantasy booking. Navarro saying AEW needs to trim out of their roster. LOL, Tony's so rich he could pay millions to people to join catering. Look, I do agree. I think, quite frankly, every major company right now, well, the two major companies, WWE and AEW, have very, very bloated rosters. Both companies have so much talent that they're not using just because there's only so much TV time in a week. But I don't think Penta is where we should see a cut in AEW. I personally am still very much rooting for a singles run for Penta, a singles title run for Penta sooner than later. I think he's more than earned it. He, his brother Phoenix, have just been absolute solid standards for AEW. If they've ever been called upon, they delivered, and they were called upon quite frequently. So, yeah. Navarro asking, Ortiz and Santana have legit beef now. Weren't they a tag team? Yes, unfortunately, they do have beef. Depending on who you ask, it's been squashed. But the reality is Santana wanted to break up the team long time ago. Ortiz didn't. They both wanted, he really wanted a tag team title run with Santana. Santana felt that he was a single star. He didn't belong in the tag division. It's why he left AEW, because he wasn't going to get that singles run in AEW. And it's unfortunate to see real life friends beef. It's unfortunate to see real life friends not be able to work out their differences. But supposedly things are, I guess, better from what I've heard, but who knows for real. But yeah, unfortunate. Hunter asking, when does Rush's contract expire? I don't think for a while. I think he re-signed a little while ago. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But why? You want to see him go to WWE or NXT as well? Because, man, he would eat that roster up. But going back to this tag match, I'll just skip a little bit over to the end. After a lot of offense from the heel team, from Ali and Singh, kind of dominating Speedball. Speedball goes. Speedball is yanked to the outside by Mustafa, and that allows the Secret Service to provide a distraction, completely overwhelming Speedball and allowing Ali to hit a huge DDT onto the floor. Back in the ring, Trent is fired up and he's just wailing on Singh. He hits. He was looking to hit a burning hammer, and as he's about to hit that burning hammer, Ali kind of rushes in, kind of rolls into the ring, but Trent stares him down, basically scares him out of the ring, and he hits that burning hammer for a 1, 2, 3. I just gotta say it. I don't know why we're seeing so many burning hammers lately. At least in this instance, it's ending in a pin. It's ending in a 1, 2, 3 and not a 2 count. But I don't know when the burning hammer became just a regular move that people hit. I am not here for it. It is a legendary move. And I know we got to move on with the times. It can't always say the super protected thing, but come on. Don't just break it out in a random tag match on TV. Break it out in a pay-per-view. And I know Seven's hit it a couple of times, but no. Let's see. Hunter asking, where is the creator wrestler guy from the other day? Oh, Danny. Danny does not ever step foot in the Gym Pack Zone. Danny he's supposed to be our Monday Night Raw guy, but he's becoming our news guy, our weekly news guy. So expect to see him live on Sunday. And from there, who knows? Navarro asking or saying, damn, I got to catch up on my Chris Van Vliet interviews. Santana was on his show for sure. He was. They did have an interview. I don't know if he really got into the Ortiz stuff. He did get into being a singles wrestler and wanting to stay a singles wrestler. But yeah, lots of reports on this. This is a well-documented beef between these two guys. They did have a blow-off feud on AEW TV, but it was neglected, or I don't say neglected, but it was held on Rampage. So go check it out there. Moving on, we then get our first of 2 championship matches, as we had Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace defending against Allison Kay, who was accompanied by her tag team partner Marty Bell. Guys, now we can really get into it. Now we can really talk about it. That is his name. Creator wrestler? Hey, that's between you and him. I don't want no beef of my own. This podcast has too much sass as it is. I can't add to it because they'll come at me even harder. But yes, getting back to it, we're here in the Knockouts division. We're here with the Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace. Jordynne is quite possibly the most on-fire women's wrestler in all of professional wrestling right now. Appearing in NXT, getting wins on NXT television. She picked up a win this last week on NXT TV. Getting consistent wins, getting consistent time on TNA, on Impact. Getting this pay-per-view match, this premium live event match for the NXT Women's Championship against Roxanne this upcoming Sunday on NXT Battleground. Sorry. Navarro saying we got to get together soon for a wrestling event. Brother, I'm all here for it. I know that I've got in the next 2 months, there's a House of Glory I'm going to, which I would love for you to come to if you were interested. Swerve is going to be there. We're trying to do Forbidden Door. And I'm trying to do SmackDown at MSG. So let's talk. Hit me up on social media. You know where you can find me. But I'm down. Let's do it. The more the merrier. But Grace is killing it right now. She is carrying herself like a champion. She's acting like a champion. And the world is finally taking notice. I won't lie to you guys. I've known about Jordynne for a very, very long time. I don't want to say a very, very long time. I've known about her since the original All In Chicago, when she was the one woman in the 21-person Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for the Ring of Honor champion, holding her own against the men like Bully Ray, Brian Cage, at the time, Punishment Martinez, current day Damian Priest. I have so much respect for Jordynne Grace. She's a hard-working talent. She has honed her craft over a very long period of time and has just gotten better and better. And I'm so happy to see that she's in this position that she's earned. This was a fun matchup with Kay, and which I thought she looked great. Both women looked great. I should say at ringside was Ash by Elegance, who had her personal ring announcer make her introduction, and she was watching the entire match. Of course, it was a long, drawn-out introduction for Ash. Her concierge is just absolutely killing it for her. I can't imagine this character working without him. And that's not a knock on Ash. I just think it's how good this concierge character has become. We then, as the bell sounds, the commentators are talking about Grace beating Stevie Turner on NXT this week, having a chance to become a double champion, which is not something we see that often. A double champion, especially cross company. Jordynne got off to a strong start. I don't want to say dominating Kay, but really bringing the fight to Kay. Eventually, the action spilled to the outside, where Kay managed to take the lead and take some control, thanks to some help from her partner, from Marty. Once they get back in the ring, she continued to hold on to the offense for a few minutes. Eventually, Grace was able to fight back with a hard forearm shot with a few of them. But again, Marty being the distraction and allowing Kay to take over again. Allison then hits a nice Saito suplex, only getting a 2 count. Jordynne then fought back and got her up for a nice muscle buster. Nice muscle buster. Something that shouldn't be too shocking for the juggernaut Jordynne Grace. She got only a 2 count, unfortunately, but she's way more in offense now, way more in the lead and way more in control. Marty trying to distract again, but this time Jordynne making quick work of her, bringing her into the ring, beating her down and kicking her out, but allowing Allison to roll her up for a 2 count. We then saw an AK-47 attempt, but it got countered. And then Jordynne folded Kay with a stiff powerbomb. It really was. I didn't know that she was going to get her all the way up for it because it didn't look like it was landing. What up, Nas? Thank you for being here, buddy. Always appreciate you. Always appreciate the love and support. And hope you're watching Battleground this Sunday for NXT. Get that TNA representation in WWE, man. But after that power bomb, Jordynne then followed it up with the Juggernaut driver, finally getting the pinfall victory. Jordynne Grace standing tall as she goes to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship this Sunday. Go watch it, guys. I know, I'm telling you to watch NXT. NXT has apparently been killing it lately. We will do our best to cover it this Sunday. I don't know that I'll be able to. Depends on the timing of the pay-per-view. But if I can, I will. If I'm not, I think somebody will be. And go watch it. Go watch it. I'll be rooting for Jordynne. Shocker to everybody. We then go. What's up? Now saying he's looking forward to NXT on Sunday. Good, man. Good. Let's enjoy it. Let's talk about it come Sunday. We then go backstage to DMTV with Sami Callihan. Guys, I like Sami. I do. He doesn't always do it for me. I thought this was fun as he played all these different characters in this DMTV segment, playing a news reporter with a fake mustache, and it was funny. Callihan basically used this time to just rip into Jonathan Gresham after their match last week, in which Gresham cheated to get the win, hitting that low blow. He then challenged Gresham to a match at Against All Odds, and then he mentioned having sushi for dinner. I get it. You guys get it, because he's an octopus. And then saying, is Gresham a man pretending to be an octopus, or an octopus pretending to be a man? We're just going to move on. Good for him. Navarro saying he thinks he's going to watch the NXT live event as well. Cool. Look, this seems to be working out for both sides right now. There's definitely interest now from TNA fans who might not have been watching NXT to go support our champion as she challenges for the title. And it seems to have been building a lot of interest in Jordynne Grace. Going back to what Navarro said, though, this is somewhat of a fear that the TNA fan base has. Is this going to benefit TNA in the long run? Or is this just going to benefit Jordynne Grace as she makes her eventual way over to WWE, NXT, wherever she may land? I hope this is beneficial for all parties involved. I hope it's beneficial for WWE. I hope it's beneficial for TNA. I hope it's beneficial for Jordynne Grace. But I am worried that TNA might be the afterthought here, the third wheel in terms of love and support from the crowd. But too early to tell. But fingers crossed everything goes well. We then go to our second championship match of the night, as we had the Digital Media Championship on the line as the champion, Laredo Kid, defended against AJ Francis. Now, guys, I have been a big proponent of AJ Francis's revitalization in TNA. I've been a big proponent of AJ Francis proving the haters wrong. Do I think he's perfect? No, I don't think he's perfect. I think he's improved immensely since his flubs in WWE. I think he's proven to be an excellent talent for TNA, an excellent heel for TNA. And given his unique size, his unique character, I think he's really finding a way to capitalize on himself. He's really finding a way to pump himself up. I think this partnership with Rich Swann has done a great deal for both of them. Swann, who was getting very stale before Francis came into the picture, and AJ just looking like kind of a boss. And don't get me wrong, I do like Laredo Kid. I think he's an excellent lucha star. I think he was a great champion, or has been a great champion for TNA. But I think I went into this match rooting for AJ Francis a little bit, just personally. Before the match starts, we have a Fight Bites breakdown graphic showing us the differences between these two stars. Francis comes out first, and of course, being accompanied by Rich Swann. This then leads to the Digital Media Champion himself, Laredo Kid, coming out. and commentators spoke about while Francis not technically earning a shot, but instead bullying his way into it, having attacked Laredo Kid last week on TV. Laredo Kid trying to honor this new tradition with the Digital Media Championship, something that his predecessor, Crazy Steve, tried to implement, that every match is a title match. As the bell rang, the champ came out firing from just right out the gate. He hit Francis with rapid fire low kicks, just trying to bring the big man down. He chops him down. He chops down his opponent. AJ snatched up Laredo, and then Kid was able to break free from that and hit a top rope missile drop kick, sending Francis to the outside. Once to the outside, Laredo followed up with another high spot, but Francis caught him. It was a scary spot. He caught him and planted him on the apron, the hardest part of the ring, with a massive, I believe it was a choke slam. Oof. They really played into the big man versus small man bit here. Francis looking absolutely imposing against the super fast Laredo Kid. Once they get back in the ring, Francis held on to control for a good while and slowed things down. Laredo then fired back up with some kicks, trying to get some momentum, trying to take back control. The crowd came to life for him. The crowd was really supporting him. And then the champ went to the top rope and hit a senton to take Swan out on the outside. Swan, who was just getting a little too involved in the matchup. Once they got back in the ring, Francis was able to take over after a mess up from Laredo, hitting his finisher, that massive, it looks like a powerbomb choke slam, and getting the 1-2-3, meaning we have a new digital media champion in TNA. AJ Francis getting his first singles gold in TNA. I think this is the right move, personally. I think AJ Francis has been doing a great job of trying to revitalize his brand. I think AJ Francis knows how to work social media very well, or is attempting to get better at working social media pretty well. And I think when you have a title like the Digital Media Championship, which in the name implores love and connection to the internet, I think someone like AJ Francis is the right guy to be that champion. You're capitalizing on a mid-card heel, taking that title and doing a lot with it over a lot of different mediums. That's not a knock on Laredo Kid. I think he was a good champion from his relatively short reign, but I think this was the right thing to do. I'm grateful they didn't have him and Swan win the tag titles at any point. It kind of felt like that might have been a direction they were going to go in. But considering the system is all over the tag division and the world championship, I get that there wasn't really room for Francis and Swan. That said, we now have a lot of heel champions. We have the world champion as a heel. We have the system, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers as the heel tag team champions. Heel knockouts tag team champions with Alicia. I don't know if Masha's a heel right now, but still. X Division champion Mustafa Ali, heel. And now AJ Francis, digital media champion, heel. Our only babyface champion is Jordynne Grace. So let's see if Against All Odds sees some title changes take place. I wouldn't be shocked if the tag titles change hands, but we'll get there. Moving on, we then get to... Are we really at the main event? Holy crap. No, we're not. We're not. We had a quick hype package for Jordynne Grace, hyping up her NXT match against Roxanne. It was good. Jordynne speaking about all the similarities she has to Roxanne, the journey both women have been on, when they started, how they started, the only difference being the companies they signed with. So good promo from Jordynne, good vignette, and good hype package. Hendry has got to get a title, right? Isn't he red hot? So we're going to get into that, I promise. Thank you for sticking with me so far for so long. We're in the main event, and we're going to talk about Hendry briefly, even though he wasn't a competitor in the main event. But yes, I am a huge believer. It is a matter of when for Hendry to win that world title, not a matter of if. Joe Hendry, having already been digital media champion for TNA, and having feuded with the world champion Moose for that digital media championship. But don't worry, Navarro, we'll cover it very soon. But we are now in the main event as we have the self-professed king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian, taking on Nick Nemeth. Now, guys, I do just want to reiterate, this being the 20th anniversary of TNA, Frankie Kazarian wrestled in the main event of the first episode of TNA Impact. He was X Division champion in that match, and I believe he took on AJ Styles. So, congratulations to Frankie Kazarian on 20 years, at least 20 years of consistency, of excellent wrestling, and just continuing to prove yourself as a competitor. Welcome back to TNA. You've been here for a while again, but always a pleasure to see you wrestling, Frankie, and good job being such an important fixture no matter where you are. But back to it, they do a brief job of breaking down the announcements for next week, as we're going to get Danny Luna versus Tasha Steelz. We're going to get Mike Santana versus Zachary Wentz, as well as Nick and Ryan Nemeth taking on Ace Austin and Chris Bay for Impact next week. I'm very nervous for what that means for the ABC. Very nervous. But regardless, we are getting into the match. We're getting into the ring. And Nemeth started off strong, taking it to Kaz pretty much as soon as the bell rang, right out the gate. But it wasn't long before Kazarian was able to take the momentum and put it in his own favor. Both men wrestling somewhat of a slow style match. You know, there were a few rest holds here. Kaz chopped the hell out of Nemeth, though, in the corner and keeping him grounded. And this then allowed Kaz to send Nemeth out to the floor with some authority. Nick then writhing in pain, Kazarian hanging back, waiting to see how he was doing, trying to get that 10 count before Nemeth was able to break it up. Of course, commentary talking about the deal Kaz made with Moose in the system, vowing to take out Nemeth tonight so he can earn that world title shot against Moose. Kaz then brings Nemeth back in the ring and grounds him again, slapping a rear chin lock. Like I said, lots of rest holds here, putting that weight on him as the fans in the Impact Zone were clamoring and clapping to rally behind Nick. Kaz continued the control, and we went to commercial. When we came back, we saw Kazarian going for a chicken wing on Nemeth, who avoided it and started to fight back. He then hits a massive DDT and a spear onto Kaz into the turnbuckles into that corner. We then get Nemeth grounding Kaz and giving him the Jerry Lawler heart attack special. Sorry, I'm using a couple of different notes here, and that was just a fun bit. Hitting him with elbow drop after elbow drop after elbow drop after elbow drop after elbow drop onto that chest of Kazarian. Kaz then took over again, fighting back, and this time fully securing that chicken wing that he tried to get on before. Nemeth escaped and attempted a danger zone. If you only know him as Dolph Ziggler, it was a zigzag, but Kaz was able to avoid it. Seconds later, Kaz then hits a slingshot cutter onto Nemeth. That was pretty big. He really got some height on it. Both men did. It was a fun spot. And then we were super close to getting that 3 count, but again, only a 2 count. After that 2 count, both men fighting, going back at it until Nemeth is finally able to hit the danger zone and get the 1, the 2, and the 3. But he couldn't celebrate for long, as soon as the match was over, the system, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and Alicia Edwards hit the ring to attack Nick. Ryan came out to try and make the save, but Moose caught him, and they just, all 4 members of the system, just absolutely decimating the Nemeth brothers. Myers hit Nemeth with a huge spear, and then Myers and Edwards hold Nick, allowing Moose to hit a spear. This then brought out, thank you for waiting with me, Navarro, Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, who just looks like a stud right now. Joe Hendry, who, look, we all know him. He's a comedic genius as far as I'm concerned. He's one of the few genuinely funny wrestlers in professional wrestling. There is attempted funny in wrestling, and then there is actual funny in wrestling. I think Hendry is in the latter. But no jokes, no silliness. He came out guns a-blazing. The crowd chanting, "We believe," and they were just all over Hendry. The crowd was super into Hendry. I think going back to what Navarro said, he is super hot right now. It is only a matter of time before they put him in a title position. And having already beaten, I believe, at least 2 members of the system recently in both tag team champions, I wouldn't be shocked if we see him transition over to Moose very soon. Hendry taking out Edwards and Myers, about to hit another move before Alicia makes the save with a kendo stick, taking him down, thus allowing Moose to take advantage and just drop Hendry. The system members hit a Boston knee party, and that was that. We saw the heroes just being laid to waste, just beaten down, broken down by the system. We then cut to, this was a little awkward for me, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We then go backstage, not backstage, we go to a vignette where Matt Hardy has a special message. Broken Matt Hardy addressed Moose's attack last week. He said that Moose thought he had taken Matt out, but all he did was tap into the broken universe. Hardy said he has met Moose's family in the system, and now he is inviting Moose and that family to the Hardy compound next week on Impact. We then see the Hardy family at the Hardy compound, Senor Benjamin in tow as well, and that's how we ended the show. Don't get me wrong. It was cool to see the broken family. It was cool to see Senor Benjamin. It was cool to see the kids and everybody, but Matt should have been there to make the save. I don't know why he was so separate. I get you need the heels to look good going into the pay-per-view to build fear and suspense for the baby faces. But if you were going to do that segment and end on such a wild note, I would have rather seen the system's reaction to it. I would have rather seen Matt deliver that message in person. So it was a little weird way to end the show. Matt Hardy, who will be going after Moose's TNA World Championship at Against All Odds. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be an interesting main event. We saw in that 6-man tag, Matt surprisingly can still really go. So who knows what he and Moose will deliver. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen at the compound next week. And then, of course, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen at Against All Odds. But guys, this is it. This was the 20th anniversary of TNA Impact. I think they could have maybe stacked the show a little bit more, but hey, we did get 2 championship matches. We even got a championship title change, and they did do a lot of groundwork. They laid a lot of groundwork for the pay-per-view and to take us home, even though we're not quite there yet. I am right there with Navarro. I am super in on Joe Hendry. Very excited to see him ascend to the main event level that he should be at. I'm interested in seeing where the tag team division is going to go. I don't think we're going to get a lot of title changes at the pay-per-view, but I do think the tag titles are going to change hands. And of course, we are all basking in the glory that is Jordynne Grace. Very interested to see if she's going to win at NXT's premium live event this Sunday, Battleground. I am seriously rooting for her, and I'm seriously hoping she goes into Against All Odds as a champ. But not much more to talk about, guys. If you have been following, I've been going crazy on social media today. We are doing a giveaway. We are doing a Speedball Mike Bailey autograph giveaway. I'm going to give you guys a few days on this one. All you need to do, like this video, comment your favorite TNA memory over the last 20 years, whether it was on Impact or on pay-per-view. Write it down on a comment. You get an entry. You get a free chance at winning a autographed Speedball Mike Bailey picture. If you subscribe to us and you prove that you subscribe to us, sending us a DM, no matter where on social media, Instagram, X, Facebook, wherever you follow, TikTok, wherever you follow us, you get another one. I want you guys to get this autograph. It's a cool one. I can't show it to you guys because of blood, apparently. It's been an issue all day trying to post this picture, but Speedball looks badass. It's a great autograph. I'm happy to share it with you guys in the Market Down fan pool, and we'll see. So I'm going to give you guys a few days on this one. I've posted it all over Reddit. I've posted it on Twitter. I'm probably going to post it on Instagram too, although we are already doing a giveaway for Becky Lynch on Instagram. So we're just trying to give you guys stuff away. But just to finish up with Navarro asking, what if Jordynne Grace actually beats Roxanne? Navarro, I don't want to get too hype about it because I know how this goes, but I think it's actually a real possibility. We're going to see Jordynne Grace walk out of the event as champ. What does that mean Shawn Michaels is cooking? I know Shawn Michaels was very eager to get Jordynne Grace in NXT. He was very jealous when Triple H got her in the Rumble on the main roster back in January. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know the logistics of it with her schedule with TNA. Granted, they do tapings a couple times a month, so it's not too hard. But I am very, very, very hopeful that Jordynne Grace walks out as champ. And then let's see if that means an NXT star is going to take the TNA Knockouts title off of her, and against all odds. So much to discuss, so many possibilities, all very exciting. But guys, I am James Gisanti. This is the Market Down Podcast. And of course, this was the Jim Pag Zone. So please, as always, check us out everywhere. Social media, all the ones I mentioned before. Go follow us there. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. The more of you there are, the more we can do here. And we love talking wrestling with you guys. As Navarro pointed out, there are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one of them has me, and I'm doing my best for you guys. Have a good night, everybody. As always, watch wrestling, and of course, watch TNA. Goodbye.